Let me clear something up right away. If your nonprofit keeps getting denied for grants, it's probably not your mission. It's not the things that you are working on. It is your structure. That's the real issue. And today, I'm breaking down why good nonprofits get denied and what funders are actually looking for. Hey, everybody. I'm Samar Michelle Days, nonprofit strategist and founder of Youth Enrichment Services. Yes, here in Atlanta. I help nonprofit leaders stop guessing and stop scrambling and build their organizations that funders trust and invest in. If you ever thought, why do I keep getting denied for grants? Then this video is for you. Most nonprofit leaders think grants are awarded for the biggest story or the biggest heart, the biggest need. But funders don't fund need. They fund capacity. They fund sustainability. They fund the ability for you to be able to manage your money, to be able to track your records and evaluate how many people you serve. And can you keep going after this grant ends? That's structure. That's not passion, right? And so many nonprofit leaders tell me all about their organization, but behind the scenes is a mess. And reviewers open up their applications and they quickly look for clear outcomes. They look for realistic budgets, multiple funding sources, and they look for strong financial practices that many of us don't have. It's super shaky. And they read it as shaky because it is shaky. And so a lot of times you get denied even though you're doing great work. And so that is where the frustration sets in on most nonprofit leaders, right? So it's a few different gaps that's making these things happen. So the first thing is your money systems. If your budget changes every time you apply for a grant, then you know that your budget is kind of shaky. If you don't have a diversified way, like different ways that money comes into your organization, then that's an issue too. Because the grant wants to supplement. They don't want to be the whole thing. And then if you don't have any documentation, if you can't show your proof, if you can't show your tracking, they worry about sustainability. It's not about effort. It's really about readiness. It's about being ready. Now, one of the things that nonprofits make as a mistake is they're applying, but they're not doing this work, right? So that means that they are worried about the grant application more than they're worried about the structure of their organization. And that becomes a really big problem. So grants award people that are already doing this work, the things that are in place, or they have a proven track record to be able to do this work. So once you stop asking, how do I win this grant? Am I applying for the right grant? You need to start asking if your organization is an organization that funders can trust. You need to ask yourself if your organization has systems flowing on a day-to-day basis and not just for the grant application. It's kind of like back in school when teachers were teaching to the test. Like, do you know the stuff, or are you just getting ready for the test? So funders read this stuff and they have seen it year over year, and they know what is happening behind the scenes based on some of the, like I said earlier, like the shaky things that you're writing. So you have to make sure that you have your practices in the background, on the back end. And my rule of thumb is, if you feel shaky about the practice, if you're like, this isn't really how I want this to go, but I'm going to tell them this is what it is, then that's not the way to go. Because I always say the truth will set you free. The truth will come out. And so you have to be doing the work. And so many of my clients are like, but Samara, I'm new. I can't I can't explain all of the things. This is my vision, and I need money to be able to execute that vision. And you're right. You're right. You really need to start small and scale up. You have to grow your nonprofit over time, which is going to grow that funding over time. But those denial letters are because those things that I just explained are shaky. So the very first thing to do is look at those financial records. And so I was talking to a client the other day, and she was like, but I don't have no money coming in. So what do you mean by financial records? And I was like, if you're doing this work, there are financial records. If you are doing, let's just say that you have a reading program for young kids, and you're getting donations for books, and you have volunteers reading, but you're going to pick up the books, and you're paying for your gas money to get the books. And then you've put the books in, a nice bag. You went to the dollar store and you bought all the bags so it will be nice for the kids. And then you got the prints to tell the parents what the kids are doing. Those are all expenses that you're probably paying for yourself, but you're not tracking anywhere. And so your first step is to just start tracking and having good financial practices. So I always liken it to like a budget at home. Like, when you are on it at home, it's because you're paying attention to how much grocery money you're spending, how much gas you're spending. You might be like, I'm not going all the way across town because I can't afford that. And so you want to track those things early, have a system for tracking those things, because even if you are telling a funder your budget for this event is $2,000, you should be able to tell them what that money is being spent on. It's being spent on lunch for the volunteers, or the signage for the parents to know where to go. You have to think about the things that you are actually spending the money on. And many times it's in your personal account. You have to move that stuff over to your business account so that you can have proper financial tracking. And then as far as your programming is concerned, you want to make sure that you have all of those things that you're doing and accomplishing written out, because then the funders can have clarity surrounding all of your programming. So it takes a minute, and sometimes it feels like the long way to go. But until you have that tracking and those systems, and you can clearly talk about the work that you're doing, you will struggle in the funding arena. And so those denials keep coming, and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Now, I'll tell you, sometimes the answer, people have a knee-jerk reaction to the denials, and instead of fixing their structure and fixing their systems, they start applying for more grants. And y'all hear those TikTokers, I apply for a grant a day. I apply for a grant a day. I don't believe in that. I don't teach that. You need to apply where you can win, and you need to make sure you build the structure around that. Y'all, if you want some more information about grant writing and making sure you have real practices that really, really work, join my free masterclass, Grant Writing in the Real World. I'll give you my tips and tricks that I actually use for my organization, Youth Enrichment Services. We're thriving in Michigan and in Georgia, and I use the strategies that I teach in my class, and I'll tell you about my nonprofit growth system and how we actually get the funding and what funders actually want to see. It's not in theory. I'm not a TikToker, a YouTuber that does not do this work. I have an organization that I'm about to get to right now. So I'll see you. Like this, share this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more free tips and tricks, and join my free masterclass at SamarMichelleConsulting.com. You won't regret it.